Hello, Jesse Good here. Today I'm reviewing the LEGO Batman Movie Minifigures Series 2, which has 20 minifigures, and we're going to take a look at each one individually. This releases January 2018. Now let's start with that look. So something to note is this is the first series to have printing on the stand that's a wide release series, not like DFB and GB, but you can see that it has a Batman logo on there. So I hope they do this with all the other series because I was asking for this since the Simpsons series. This is Disco Harley Quinn, which is based off of the Friends Are Family song, how she appears in that, which is in the ending credits. I like the little sparkles all over her torso. I don't love the sparkles, I like them. But even her arms are similar to Alfred's, which we'll get into next. The design for her face is admittedly pretty cute. I like the winking face right there. And then you have this more determined face on the back. But as a whole, I just don't think this is a really desirable minifigure because we already got Harley Quinn in the last series. She comes in a lot of the different sets, and this variant just isn't too interesting. They don't even give you interesting accessories. You just get a gold roller skate and a silver roller skate, and then a tutu, which are pretty easy to get even in this color. So I wish, I don't know, they gave her an interesting new accessory or something, but all you get here is some new prints. Here is Disco Alfred, and I don't get it because they put the two most undesirable characters out of all their disco versions to put in the set, the ones with the most minor roles, Alfred and Harley Quinn, while the cooler ones like Batman, Robin, Joker, and Batgirl are all stuck in the $260 Joker Manor set. So that's just a little bit wrong to me. The design of this torso right here would look better if it didn't have the sparkles because it would be just a little bit more useful. Now, I don't really have a use for that. They reprint the Gong and Guitar Rocker's guitar right there, which is ridiculous. Now that figure is absolutely worthless because his hairpiece is also reprinted in this series. It is nice to get a cheap Alfred, but you get a better version of that that's much more usable in this series, which we'll get to later. There is no back facial printing, but we do get some nice back torso printing and this nice soft cloth piece, which is an attachment to add to his hips. So here is Cloth King, and his spears are the most uninteresting part of him because the rest of the minifigure is incredible. I love the design with the clocks all over him. He even has some tights right there, which is quite funny. He has a nice cape and printing on the side of his arms and legs, which is fantastic. Other than that, though, he doesn't have any back torso printing, unfortunately. And his head is a reprint of the gingerbread head, which is some nice part usage. I like how they recolored everything, and it came out looking great, even down to the eyes right there of the gingerbread head. And you can see they have kind of the gears of the clock, which is such a great part usage. He even has this in between the sandwich part that the gingerbread cookie had, but that's quite funny. I just think that it's such a clever part usage, such a clever design, and I wish there was more wacky figures in this series like Series 1, because this is reminiscent of the Eraser or Zodiac Master. Here is Hugo Strange, which is a character people have wanted for a while from LEGO Batman, so it's nice to get him in LEGO form. I don't like that he doesn't have any back torso printing, but the front of his minifigure is just about perfect. I can't really ask for any improvements here. Love the torso design, the legs, which use some nice dual molded designs with the black boots. He also has two potions as accessories, which I always like getting those pieces. I don't know about you. And his face print looks very angry. Once you remove his beard, you can see that he has some printing at the top of his torso and at the bottom of his face that were kind of covered. Here is Mermaid Batman, which the design of this has a great tailpiece. Like, that tailpiece is so usable. I like how they don't ruin it with a Batman symbol or anything like that. You could reuse it in different settings, so that is so cool. Got some back torso printing. And the design of this, I like that it's so wacky. It's kind of like Clock King in a way, so that's cool. I wish I had more figures like that in this series. I would like the torso so much more if they didn't put this belt here, which is ruined on the front and the back. I love how they kind of censor out the nipples with the shells, but then you have this belt and it's like, okay, you can't use this in any other settings. The design of the Black Trident isn't anything new. It came in Series 16, but it does have a nice new facial printing underneath, which I just like getting different facial expressions for popular characters, so that is super useful. So here is Beach Batman. And this is just such a boring pick, in my opinion, because we got Vacation Batman in the first series, which, in my opinion, is just a better figure overall. I like the design of that, ducky that it came with. This one has a reuse of the Vacation Batman goggle mask piece, which is so lame. Like, why couldn't you just recolor it with the goggles? Like, you could have made purple goggles or yellow or red goggles. It would have been just a little bit more interesting. He has this little rescue board, or whatever you want to call it, as an accessory. But the most interesting part of him, besides his torso, is that he does include a dolphin, which this is the cheapest way to get the dolphin. So if you missed out on Fun at the Beach, which is the second cheapest way besides a Friends set from 2013, this is super useful. And it's a great design, a great molding. That's like a hard plastic. The design of his torso, like I said, I really do like, and I wish his legs right there didn't have the Batman symbol on them because they would just be a great Speedo to use, but now they're limited to Batman. He does have a more interesting facial design than Mermaid Batman, which you can see he's smiling right there. I just feel like they should have put Reggae Batman or something a little bit more interesting as a Batman variant in this series, but we're just stuck with one interesting Batman variant and then this one right here, which is just kind of boring. So my favorite of the beach variants is Tropical Joker, which is what Bricksack calls it, but it's probably just going to be called Beach Joker. This is one they went above and beyond with the design of everything, because it's a reference. It has a fun, unique, colorful design, has useful pieces. First off, with the useful pieces is this great float right here, which you can see even has some printing at the top right there. Of course, a recolor of the one from the Vacation Batman of Series 1, that little patch right there. Once you remove that float, you get a nice reference to the Killing Joke, Joker, from the comics, which is one of the most popular Batman stories in a long time, with that similar looking torso and, of course, the camera. He does have some arm printing on both of his sides, which is, accurate to the minifigure with the card symbols. And we have some torso printing on the back, which is fantastic. Kind of boring little popsicle right there. I wish they chose a new color, but I guess it fits with the translucent lime green. And then what's weird is that he does have an alternate face, so he has kind of a menacing open mouth look there. And then he has a really smiling look there. I was like, okay, it's super similar. I don't know why they chose to print that. Maybe they should have done like a sad one or just a neutral look, but I'll take it. It's 2 prints. It wasn't necessary. So here is Robin, and the design of this would have been so much cooler if they gave him unique accessories. Like, they're just so close to having a really unique figure here, but they don't pull it off. This boombox right here is the same one from Series 3. This ice cream cone right here is the same one that's in many other sets. There's no new designs there. His torso has the Robin's print on there, which, I don't know, I wish it was a little bit more neutral design, because I do like getting Hawaiian shirts for, like Lego Weird Al. The design of his trousers right here, not really trousers, but swimsuits, would be so much better if it didn't have that R right there. Like, why do you have to plaster that on there? It makes it so much less useful. You're going to have to use Brasso to get that off. He does have some back torso design, which I guess is okay. Now, the most useful part of him for me would be his face print and his goggles, because his goggles, finally, they have a neutral design of his eyes. The most neutral we got was the one from Lego Dimensions, but that was looking up or like a little bit left a little bit. This one is totally neutral, so that's cool to just get a generic Robin design. Then you can see he does have an excited facial look underneath, which that's kind of cool. It's useful outside of the setting. So here is Beach Batgirl. I like how they have an exclusive accessory, at least this time around, with the printed surfboard with the Batgirl logo, even though it's not particularly super useful. The design of the legs right there are also sort of useful because they're generic enough. I like that. You could use that outside the setting. Really like the arms with the dual molding and the flesh design and just the purple kind of sleeves that could be used outside the setting. But it's just not really an exciting, interesting design for Batgirl to get. Her face underneath is super similar to the ones in the set. I think her lipstick's just a little bit darker. She has the same cowl as the one in the sets, and her torso design is too specific to the character. She does have some back torso printing, which that could be useful if you kind of invert it and make that the front of a minifigure. But that's it for Beach Batgirl. So here is Beach Alfred, and this is probably the most useful out of all the beach variants, honestly, even though it's not one of my favorites. I like how the torso and legs are generic enough so you can use it outside of the setting. It's not specific to Lego Batman. The legs especially can be used as like a prisoner's getup or something like that. His accessory kind of sucks. Like, actually, it really sucks because they're just 2 very common pieces. But I do like how they have the face and the hair, because the face and the hair, you don't know how useful that is, because people like me haven't had Alfred ever. Like, the only time I ever got Alfred was recently in the summer with the Ultimate Batmobile, and that's not the most generic version. So here is a generic, easy to get Alfred, and I like that. The Friends Are Family / Disco version is very specific. It's not the regular Alfred. So that's cool that they reprinted him in a cheap set. And just like the Friends Are Family Disco version, he does have his little bow tie right there, which is a nice piece to get. So here is Merge Batgirl, and this is one that is like Claw King or Beach Joker, where it's not useful outside the setting, but it's wacky enough that I love it. Like, the ones that are crazy and interesting designs, those are good, and then the ones that have useful pieces, those are good. But when they're just dull designs and they don't have very useful pieces, like a Beach Batgirl or a Beach Robin, those are the ones I don't really like. You can see that she does have this cape right here, which is a newer style cape. This arm printing on both sides, which are actually different. Number one Bat fan. I kind of wish that they just went with these consistently on both sides with the lines. Same goes for the legs right there, because it would have been more useful outside the setting, but it's okay because it's just wacky enough. You can see it says Batman Fan Club right there. And her facial design right here actually has two designs. So you have one on the front and then one on the back right there. And of course, this is a new kind of hat mold up here, which has the Batman logo all the way up top. It would have been a little bit more useful without that Batman logo, but it does have little cowl-like parts up here, so I mean, it's not really a useful mold to begin with. So here is Killer Moth, and I don't know, it's kind of a weird choice that they chose to put in this set, because it just feels like a character that we've gotten a few times before. He was in the Mighty Micros recently, so he's fairly cheap, but also he was in the Harvest of Doom, but that was kind of a different version. This one's more similar to the Mighty Micros version with this B-Girl hat right here reprinted, so that's not really anything exclusive. It is nice getting them in cheap sets, though, especially with these little wings right here, which I like that they're translucent and kind of that orange right there. It looks really nice. I like his face print the best out of the three Killer Moths. His torso print is whatever, and his legs, I guess, could be used maybe outside of the setting because it doesn't have anything specific to him. His blaster right here is probably the most interesting part of the whole figure because this is a recolor of the classic Space Hero from Series 17, but it's in gold, so that's particularly useful. And he does have some back torso printing, which can be seen there. So here is the first of the Wonder Twins, the Sister Jayna, which the design of her actually is coinciding with the Justice League anniversary party where she has a disc piece, which that's a great print. I like that. And also a record album print, which says top 24 party songs. Another really useful generic print. Other than that, you can see on her torso, she has a J, the womanly curves right there, which is the difference between her and Zahn's torso. Also the leg print right there, which are dual molded boots, some back torso printing, and this little part up here. No back facial design, but she does use the elf hair from Series 3 in black, which could be useful for a Spock custom, and she has that front face printing, which is new. So here's a Wonder Twins brother. I wish I had the little monkey as the accessory, but his is a bucket right here, and also his sister in her water form, which is printed on a 1x1 translucent light blue tile. He has the same leg design, but you can see their torsos are a little bit different with the symbol, and of course he has a six-pack right there. Love the mix of lavender and dark purple they use for these two figures. Then he has the same hair piece right there, but a different face where he looks kind of happy. So here is Apache Chief, so much more useful than the Gong Guitar Rocker, and they both share the same hair piece. The design of this 1x3 is actually really cute with this photo they probably took at the Justice League anniversary party. You can see it even has a Wonder Twins monkey, which isn't in Lego form, so that's a little bit weird. Love the medium dark flesh all around because that's such a useful color for minifigures, and the legs right there aren't dual molded, but it looks like they're dual molded, which I love how they pull off that illusion by using only two different colors printed there with the black and also, well, you got a little bit of a gray right there and then the medium dark flesh, so it is three. The arms have some bracelet printing, and his torso right here has some back torso printing. Just overall a very detailed figure. I especially like his face print, which is medium dark flesh, generic, so it's useful in different settings. So here is Jor-El, and this is a great figure because first off, the design of that hairpiece in white, oh, I love that so much. And plus, Jor-El isn't really a common Lego figure. He only came in one promotional figure from 2013, I believe. His accessory seems to be maybe a memory crystal, but that's not how they looked in the movie. They were actually clear and were a totally new molding. It would have been cool to get this piece in clear, which I don't think they've made before, but I might be wrong about that. You can see that he uses this armor piece right here, which is cool to get in this gunmetal gray with that 1x1 printed little hope design right there, the Superman logo, right? That's what it stands for. The design of his face, he looks kind of stern and he has a beard, but other than that, if he didn't have the beard, he would look like Marlon Brando's Jor-El. But if you take all that off, you can see he still has some torso printing underneath, which is very useful. So here is General Zod, and this is funny because his newspaper right here says, Gotham Gazette, kneel before Zod and poll. Candidate Neil wins on platform, will not enslave humanity. That's hilarious. But the design of this is based off of the Superman 2 General Zod, the old movie. I love that because first off, this is a useful figure outside of that, setting. If you don't know who General Zod is, you'll like the arm printing, the leg printing, and also, the best part, the hairpiece right there, which I love getting that hairpiece in black. That is so useful. It's been way too long for us not to get that hairpiece in such a common color, so that's awesome. You can see he has kind of an angry face, but it's generic enough to be used outside of the setting. So this is just a great figure on so many different levels. Nostalgia, getting a character that's kind of hard to get because, he did come in this Man of Steel sets, but that was it. And this is a different take on him. And you also get useful pieces if you don't give a crap about General Zod or any Superman characters. Here is Dr. Phosphorus, which the design for this would have been a little bit cooler if they used glow-in-the-dark or if they used like a translucent lime green. But they just stuck with Spring Green, which I think is the most boring approach out of all of them. But it's still not a boring figure. It's kind of wacky. I like how he has the Lego skeleton design all around, which is kind of a nice reference. You know, it's not just a skeleton mold. It's a skeleton design, so that's really cool. It ties Lego in with the villain. And he also has these lime green translucent flames, which that's a useful piece because we don't really get those. I think they were in Mars Mission way back, which is just a crappy theme, so it's nice to get it in here. Not really dual molded legs, but you do get some nice side leg printing. So overall, pretty good figure in my book. So here is Black Canary, and she has that microphone build, which is a pretty substantial build for a CMF pack. But, you know, it makes sense. She's a singer. She's singing in, and she has that great facial printing right there with the singing face where she's opening up her mouth. That could be so useful in different settings. A nice torso that's generic enough, nice legs that are generic enough. And her hair piece is nothing new, but it is nice to get it in a minifigure series because it's not the most common. And you can see she has a stern face right there with some back torso printing. So it's nice that they also include a generic face for her. So here is Black Vulcan, which is such a useful figure. I like getting the lightning pieces in that translucent yellow coloring. Also like the dual molded legs right there, which have some great printing all the way up top with his tights, which is cool. The back torso design, the Flash helmet recolored in that black and yellow version. Black and yellow, black and yellow. And then he has a facial design underneath, which is pretty cool, but no back facial printing. So overall, just a really detailed figure that is definitely one of the better ones of the series. As for the packaging, I like how the Series 2 is a different logo than the one from Simpsons Series 2 and Lego Minifigures Series 2. It's just funny how they use a different one for all of those. And I really miss the teasers for the next series on the back. This one just has something that leads you to unlock more movie scenes on the Lego Batman movie little poster creator or whatever it's called. And they have some instructions right here. So is this better than Lego Batman Movie Series 1? No, I think that one is in my top 5. It's one of my favorites, maybe even top 3, but we got to analyze that for the top 10 best Lego minifigures list, which I'm still working on. Stay tuned. This one might be on the list. It might be in my top 10. Of course, it puts it ahead of like series with 16 because it already has 20 minifigures, so that is an advantage in its own right. But you do get some dead weight here, especially with those beach variants, which for the most part kind of suck. There's some good pieces on the individual figures, but the designs of those beach ones just seem very, very bland, except for ones like the Joker one, which is one of my favorites of the whole series. I feel like it needed a little bit more wacky characters too. Maybe they should put Condiment King in here instead of in a set, because you got people like Clock King, which is so wacky, but that's really the only wacky character I could say in here besides maybe like a Tropical Joker, which is just such a weird combination. Other than that, you get some obscure characters, which are nice, but they seem a little bit more bland, as in you could have probably fit them in a set. Yeah, I love Black Canary, and I love that singing face, but she could have easily appeared in the set because she doesn't really require much new molds. Here, I would expect characters with more wacky, insane molds. So all that considered, I don't know where I would place this yet, but I still recommend this series. I think there are a lot of good figures in here, and there are a lot of good pieces you can use outside here, whether it's General Zod's hair, Jor-El's hair, even Beach Batgirl, which is one of my least favorite minifigures in here, but she does have some nice dual molded legs and arms. So that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.